Scanco, and they are publishers of integrated barcoding solutions for Stage 100, as well as Caroline Walsh, the Director of Sales and Marketing for V Technologies, also a publisher, and they publish some integrated shipping solutions for Stage 100. So let's talk about, I'm going to just kind of jump right into it. We're going to first talk about this new kind of buzzword that people are hearing around the market called omnichannel. Now, not everybody uses the term omnichannel, and I will define what omnichannel is in a minute, but I want to kind of take you back to 2009 and kind of compare it to what today looks like and give you a sense of how the retail market as we know it is really changing. So if you look on the right side here of the screen, in 2009, these are the players that really, in the retail space, really held all the cards. So the retailer, and they're the ones who really made the rules, and the vendors or the suppliers had to abide by those rules. And the consumer kind of just sat over here and had to take whatever was given. As far as retail was concerned, in 2009, there wasn't a lot of e-commerce, social media, mobile presence, or digital presence for that matter, affecting what goes on in the retail space. So let's kind of go through a little bit of what 2009 looked like. E-commerce as a whole didn't really exist. I mean, it was just coming to fruition. People weren't really thinking of a multi-channel environment where digital commerce and physical commerce in stores, they kind of thought of those two things as kind of separate entities. And the technology, the way it existed in 2009, really represented that exactly. Web and big box, two totally different things. Let's talk about what kind of the social aspect looked like in 2009. Social networks weren't really part of making any marketing campaigns or any kind of platforms. It was just really a way of connecting people online. If you look at it by month, in 2009, Twitter had about 6 million users, Facebook about 57 million. Pinterest didn't even exist. And I know in my house, these days, Pinterest costs me a lot of money, and we'll show you about what the amount of users look like in this, in 2014. But MySpace was really big. There were a lot of users on MySpace, and as you probably, anybody who has teenage kids, those kids are now going back to MySpace, and that's because their parents are on Facebook. So if you have teenage kids, you might want to get a MySpace account. The iPad, believe it or not, in 2009 was not even invented yet. And I know in my house we have 2 of them. And I'm probably, on average, most houses might have more than just 2. There's only about 139 million smartphones sold. That year is when the iPhone 3G launched. E-commerce really only made up about 6% of retail sales, and that may seem like a small number, but that was about $155 billion. And nobody was even tracking if there were any e-commerce influenced sales, like any likes, or if you go on Facebook and you like a product, if that's influencing a sale, or Twitter or Pinterest. Also in 2009, this is, remember, the two companies, the two pieces of the retail industry that hold most of the power are the retail and the vendor. This is what the perfect order looks like from the retailer's point of view. The vendor shipped it on time, it was complete, it was damage-free, and all of the information, the documentation was complete, and it was accurate. This at the time was considered the gold standard of supply chain effectiveness. If you are a company that sells to a big box retailer, scorecarding is a word that you'd probably hear back in 2009, and even to a certain degree sometimes today as well. But these are the things that made up the perfect order. The word omnichannel, the phrase omnichannel, didn't even exist. So let's fast forward to today, and you're going to see there's a big difference in the amount of users and how we are, as a consumer, affecting the market as a whole. Now, there is still continued economic uncertainty, And as far as the retailer is concerned, in order for them to survive, they need to move forward. They need to get more technologically rich. They need more information about the items that they're selling so that they get the opportunity to get that sale instead of an Amazon or one of their web or big box retailer competitors. Also, an integrated customer experience requires not only reinvention, but in some cases, invention. And that is because you heard me say in 2009, most retailers said, okay, the web presence and my big box brick and mortar store, those are two completely different stores. It doesn't work that way anymore. Consumers, and everybody on today's call is a consumer, whether it's a presenter or someone in the audience. If you walk into Target, or if you bought something on Target.com, the beauty of being able to buy something from Target.com is you can return it in the store. And as a consumer, we want the ability to make that process easy. That's one of the disadvantages, if any, or there are very few with Amazon that Amazon has, is you can't go and return something to a store. But believe it or not, I heard just about 2 weeks ago, Amazon is toying with the idea of opening brick and mortar stores. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's something interesting. All right, let's talk about some of those other stats that we saw before. Twitter, 240 million users per month. Facebook, 1.23 billion users per month. And Pinterest, which had 0, now has about 70 million users per month. Much, much bigger, those are, and believe it or not, not only are we doing things a little bit differently with each of these social media sites, we're using them so much differently. I talked earlier about the likes and how certain data is trending on different social media websites. It's very important to understand what that means and how retailers use that data. From the mobile standpoint, 180 million tablets sold and 1 billion smartphone units sold. Much, much higher numbers. E-commerce now makes up about $300 billion worth of e-commerce sales as far as the retail sector is concerned. And there's 1.4 trillion web influence sales. So those are again, the likes. If something gets put onto Twitter, in Pinterest, these are influential things that happen on different social media sites that make someone buy something. Look at Amazon's reviews. There aren't many people that I know of that either don't have a Prime account or don't go to Amazon to look at the reviews, even if they don't buy it from Amazon for whatever reason. And if it's not Amazon, it may be some other site. You're looking at reviews. We're in an digital age now, where we can share information with anyone with the click of a mouse and a couple of keystrokes. The new perfect order looks like this. The consumer now is the one who's grading that order. Is the product information valid? So when you go on to Amazon, or if you go onto a certain website when you're trying to buy something, does it have a video? Does it have a picture? I mean, I know when people go online, I know for myself, if I can't see the product, it's not very likely that I'm going to buy it. If I can't, sometimes if you're buying shoes and you want to see a 3D version of it, if you want to look at it from all angles, that's what product information means. The social validation, the likes and the reviews, inventory information. Amazon and most of these other e-tailers don't like that. There's nothing worse than especially in the Christmas season, you trying to go buy something for someone or for yourself, and you go to buy it and it's back ordered. That puts a sour taste in the consumer's mouth. So this is the information that is now creating what the perfect order is in the new retail space, making sure it's fulfilled conveniently and also the convenient return. Like I said before, there's nothing easier than buying something online, realizing you don't like it, it doesn't fit, it's not your style, whatever the case may be, and instead of having to pay shipping to return it, you just walk into a store and return it. So here's the term omni-channel, and I talked about it a couple of times. And there's something, this is the way the world is going. And really what omni-channel is no matter where someone buys something, whether it be online or in a store or in a catalog or whatever the case may be, the consumer needs to have that same experience no matter where that product is purchased from. And that's really important. And as a vendor or supplier to retailers, what retailers are doing is they are creating the need for their suppliers to be able to push this information to them so that the supplier now takes on some of the responsibilities that the retailer had previously. And a lot of that is coming from Amazon. I'll give you a quick story myself. I frequently will walk into Target or whatever store it is that I'm trying to buy something from, and I open up my Amazon app, and before I go and put it in my cart, I scan the barcode. And if Amazon has it for cheaper, I'm a Prime member, so it's going to just be there in a couple days. I don't have to pay for shipping. What happens is I'm going to see if it's cheaper or if I can get a better deal or if I'm going to combine it with something else. I am now the one as a consumer who holds the power, and that's really important for the individuals on the call, the companies on the call, to understand that since Amazon is a big force in the retail space, the retailers are going to rely on you to get information to them so they can make smarter decisions, understand which products to carry, which stores to put them in, and so on and so forth. This also is driving a big change in retail as well. It's dropship. Bill from SWK is going to talk about this a little bit, and how MAPADOC helps with dropship within Stage 100. Dropship is really important. It's becoming, as far as EDI data, EDI orders are concerned, it's getting up there close to 30% of most EDI data that's transacted through the SPS Commerce Network is dropship, and that's because companies like Walmart are creating the .com sites, and a lot of it is coming through the .com instead of brick and mortar. My wife told me today, she said, it's great. This is the first year I have not had to walk into a store to buy any Christmas gifts. And that is market analysis case study enough for me if my wife is going, not walking into a store and not having to deal with malls. And I know I'm doing the same thing. I'm buying most of my stuff online. I have to imagine it's happening as well, throughout the rest of the market. So there are really four pieces of this omni-channel, omni-channel idea to get your head around. And the companies, the partners that we're going to be talking today are going to touch on a lot of these. SPS works with all these four different pieces, but as suppliers, as vendors, you have to understand how are you going to source your items to new retailers. Because retailers are looking at how can I get more information to that prospective buyer, whether it be on their mobile device or on their iPad or on their, on their computer or in the store. The more information I give them, the better, because if I've got them there and I give them that information, I'm meeting their demands, and they're more likely to buy what it is that they're trying to buy. Then also, Scanco is going to talk about this a little bit too, but making sure that your inventory has the correct information so that when the retailer needs that information, it can be pulled out of your Stage 100, and you can get the attributes you need, whether it be videos or images or barcoding in general. Syncing that information up with retailers and suppliers is vitally important. And then I know Bill and Caroline are going to talk about fulfillment a little bit. Traditional EDI, shipping your goods. Are goods going to DCs, to stores, to consumers, to 3PLs? There's a lot of different places where goods are going to flow throughout the retail supply chain, and it's important to understand the products that we're going to be looking at, how they're going to help you make fulfilling your orders cheaper, better, and faster. And then lastly, SPS uses some tools that help suppliers understand what's going on in their in the stores of their customers. So we have a tool called the POS Analytics tool, which allows which allows the suppliers and vendors to identify what's happening with the goods that I sent to Target. I have the ability to tell my buyer, hey, you ordered 10,000 of these units, and last week you sold 8,000 of them, and you're going to probably sell another 4,000 more this week. You probably need more in these stores. We have web-based tools that allow you to see your item performance, your stock liabilities, what's going to happen if Target doesn't put those items out and they don't sell them? Are they going to send them back to you? Well, what if you have an order from you have some raw materials out there, or from your vendor that you're getting a couple of truckloads of inventory? Well, it'd be good to know that Target is sending you 10,000 SKUs back. We have a tool called POS Analytics and doing some stuff with that would help you identify that. So that's kind of what omnichannel is. That's what the market is shifting to. What I'm now going to do is turn it over to Bill, and he's going to talk about, actually I'm going to turn it over to Caroline, and she's going to talk about how Starship is evolving and some of the stuff that they're going to do.
Well, thanks, Dane. Very interesting stuff. Love that omni-channel word, and the first time I ever heard that was actually at an SPS conference. So, you know, the V Technologies and the 2015 roadmap for V Technologies really aligns a lot to what Dane discussed earlier. Probably because, you know, we're trying to build our roadmap based on feedback from our customers, and omnichannel is probably becoming more prevalent in the forefront of our customers' thoughts, whether they use that term or not. So what do we have planned for Starship in 2015? The first thing that we're working on is Sage 100 batch processing. And that's really giving users the ability to now look at their Sage 100 orders, pick a bunch of them based on, filter them out, pick a bunch of them based on whatever filter they need, and then batch process those shipments. You know, we had lots of feedback from customers who are shipping large quantities because of Amazon orders, or we even had a customer that had posted one of their items on Woot and found that they suddenly had to ship 2,000 of these items out, and they were using our current import functionality, batch import functionality, which means that where Starship supports importing from like a spreadsheet or something of that nature. So, you know, what we tried to do then is take that idea and make it more in tune with their current workflow, meaning, you know, by integrating directly to the Sage 100 orders, they can now, you know, batch process a bunch of those, get all the labels printed for those 2,000 orders, and then still get the automatic invoicing and all that information back into Sage 100. So that can save them a couple steps in the process, basically just reducing the amount of workflow and trying to take some of those inefficiencies out with the batch import export that was in place. Dane, can you just hit next on that for me? Thanks. So next up is enhanced rate shopping. And there's a few things wrapped around this rate shopping idea. One thing I wanted to mention is in this past year, we added access to our rate shopping engine directly from Sage 100 sales order. And what that means is you can basically just click on a Starship button from sales order and have access to both the negotiated and list rates across all your modes, both small parcel and LTL. And we wanted to make this available to everyone in the office so that you guys could make better decisions on which carrier to select at the time of order entry. So along those lines, we now have plans to provide the rate shopping from and giving you access to change the sender from which you're rating from. So this kind of goes along with the idea where you might have multiple warehouses across the country. And for any one order, you might want to rate shop and find out, well, which warehouse is the best warehouse to ship out of to reduce my freight spend from that perspective. Customers also wanted to use this you know, changing up of the sender address for inbound rating. So maybe they were taking inbound freight coming in, and they were having the customer pay on their account, and they wanted to know which carrier to go with, which one had the best negotiated rates. We've also done a lot with the post office module and Indicia when it comes to rate shopping. There was a big announcement by the parcel carriers where they're changing how they calculate the freight charges for the ground shipments, and they're utilizing dimensions of your boxes, which will probably have a pretty big effect on many of our customers as far as the actual freight charges that they're going to be paying to ship their boxes out. So one easy way to kind of mitigate that freight increase is to obviously talk to your rep and discuss your negotiated rates. But one of the other ways to mitigate it is to take a look at other carriers. And so the post office seems to be becoming more prevalent as far as requests on our side, as well as looking at regional carriers, and we do support both OnTrack and Speedy. So there's a couple of things there with the rate shopping. We also will be releasing a new support for the post office cubic pricing, as well as consolidators such as Mail Innovations and DHL Global Mail. And all this is wrapped around the idea of trying to reduce freight spend, giving you ways to rate shop and look at, what's the best way to ship it, especially if you're in an e-commerce atmosphere where you're providing free shipping. You definitely want to try to get it there at the right time, but at the least expense to you. And just in case you weren't aware, Starship can use rules-based processing to determine the best way to ship as you're processing shipments. So it can do rate shops automatically in the background and look at your preferences to determine which way is the best way, even outside of that rate shopping UI that we were talking about from sales order. E-commerce interfaces, so the other area that we're going to be focusing on for 2015 is expanding our integrations. And Starship historically has integrated into ERP systems such as Sage 100, but we have had customers that are requesting that we connect directly to their marketplace or stores. And so we will be expanding. Our first interface will be connecting to Amazon, but we do have plans to expand to other marketplaces as well. And last but certainly not least is our continued commitment to work with the other developers, like those that are going to be speaking today. We focus all on the shipping process and trying to make that more efficient for our customers. But we really enjoy, having these partnerships with solutions like SPS, MAPADOC, and Scanco, so that they can help our customers, with the other processes and work on EDI and warehouse management. So with that, I think we're going to pass it over to Bill to talk about MAPADOC.
Yeah, so thanks, Caroline, and thanks everyone again for joining us. One thing I want to talk about in regards to MAPADOC, is you heard Dane reference it before, is the Amazon effect. If any of you are doing any sort of business today with Amazon, you're either doing it through EDI or through Vendor Central. I'm sure you've been receiving notifications from them regarding their changes to their requirements. So a lot of our customers who were doing business on Vendor Central weren't required to do the label through Vendor Central. Well, that's changing as of January 1st. So you've probably seen a lot of marketing pieces from us regarding Amazon from SPS, because of the fact that 90% of our customer base is dealing with Amazon in some form or another. And Amazon has, just like anything else, their own requirements surrounding EDI, and those are changing. So the first thing that we want to point out is, we are aware of this, and we are able to meet the requirements. And one requirement that Amazon has that we've seen a lot of our customers request and really see a value add is in regards to routing requests and routing guides. And so Amazon, if you're aware, is required to tell them, how you're what regards to the shipment, how you're packing it, the weight, the volume, and then they would tell you how to ship it. That's all done through Vendor Central manually, but Amazon does have the ability to do that through EDI, and MAPADOC has brought that to another level to integrate that. So even if you are doing EDI today with Amazon, and you're still having to go into Vendor Central to do your routing requests and routing guides, that can be done through MAPADOC, and we have a nice streamlined process that is able to really, from an efficiency standpoint, minimize the amount of time that you're doing it, and at the same time meet Amazon's requirements. Secondly, You heard Dane mention drop ship today. A lot of customers, a lot of our customers, like your Walmarts and Walmarts.coms and Target.coms. Well, that's a lot of where the volume from an EDI standpoint is coming into play, especially around this holiday time, right? Like Cyber Monday. Now, if you're doing business today through with a .com type of fulfillment model, you're most likely required to send them your inventory feeds, the quantity on hand, things of that nature. Well, as we're getting into more stringent requirements and more customers doing more of the .com fulfillment models, that comes with additional requirements that you need to meet, and that's your custom using customer pricing information via inventory feeds as an example. We added that to our solution, but there's also others that we've added to meet the ever different attributes of your products, color and size and things of that nature, that your customers are going to want to know so they can place on their website for the end consumer to purchase and have that information available. Because like Dane said, that perfect order today is not shipping it on time and damage-free. It's with item characteristics, the cost, things of that nature. Thirdly is another solution another functionality that we added is EDI order inquiry. We actually added this about a year ago. But that again, going back to those changing requirements via EDI is our customers are going to want to be able to track their EDI documents all the way through. So, off a PO, off a shipment, and not just based off PO number or sales order number or date, other information as well. So what we've added in to our EDI order inquiry screen is additional search criteria for our customers to bring it to another level. So if they want to search by cancel date, if they want to search by a specific item, they certainly have the ability to do that now within our EDI order inquiry screen, which they weren't able to before. And that will certainly continue in 2015 with whatever changes via EDI. And then lastly, one thing that I want to touch on, and this kind of goes back to number one and number two, dealing with Amazon and dealing with your dropship type of models. We've really brought to our customer base a much more automated ASN creation, especially for dropship type of models where we're able to automatically create the ASN, because when you get in those dropship type of models, that volume from an order standpoint really increases, and it's a huge strain on our customers if they have to go through it one by one. So we've really added additional functionality from an ASN creation standpoint, mainly for direct-to-consumer because of that volume, but also, for other fulfillment methods to meet those requirements, especially from a transactional volume standpoint. And before I turn it over to Scanco, I really want to echo kind of like what Caroline finished off with is, as our customers are changing, and we see these trends in retail and in trading documents through EDI, all of our functionality is typically coming back from our customers and their feedback, and we really align that with the trends in retail and how that's going to strain our customers or affect our customers, and how we can bring a solution to the table, not only from an EDI standpoint, but jointly with SPS, Starship, and Scanco as well. So at this point, I'll turn it over for Scanco to walk through how they're evolving.
Awesome, thanks, Bill. So this is Cody over at Scanco, and kind of before I get started on the 2015 plans and our road ahead, we definitely want to thank a lot of our customers that are on the call, a lot of the business partners that we work with on a daily basis that are also on the call, and without that, without the customers and partners, being able to see what Scanco offers and how we're able to help out in the this changing environment, we wouldn't be where we are today. We wouldn't have a lot of the ideas we have to come up with some of the new technologies and the new processes that we're bringing to the Sage 100 world. So when it comes to the 2015 and where we're kind of coming into the omni-channel is I'm sure you can tell with all of the changes and everything going mobile, all this is going to mean is a lot of orders coming in. There's going to be a lot more orders. There's going to be smaller, some smaller orders going to drop ship. So it's not just large orders going to distribution center. And where a huge bottleneck comes into play is definitely in the warehouse. So if you can't increase the efficiencies in your warehouse and get these orders out faster, make sure they're accurate, those scorecards, that perfect order is definitely going to be affected. And that's where we come in, is to make sure that with the increase of the orders that everything's getting shipped out as fast as possible and definitely as accurate as possible. So one thing that we've definitely been focusing on recently and carrying into next year is our increased customer focus. We've really spent a lot of time, a lot of effort getting out in front of our customers. We are part of the Sage Inspire Tour this year, so it's like 14 cities we'll be visiting with Sage, and that gives us the opportunity to meet with the partners and customers and get a lot of feedback of, what do they want to see in warehouse management? What are they needing? And we do a lot of other events in conjunction with some of the other ISVs and partners that are on the call as well, where we kind of focus a little more, to collect some of this information to make sure that the products we're coming out with are definitely tailored to what you're asking for. And in 2014, we launched a new product, Scanco Warehouse. It's the most successful product to date for Scanco, and a lot of that came from it following this revolution of the mobile world by operating on iOS and Android. So all of these, numbers that Dane was displaying, that's not just consumer. That's enterprise as well. A lot of these devices are being used, at Target. They're being used at JCPenney's. All of these huge corporations. So we decided, why not bring them into the warehouse? They're less costly. They're a lot faster, and we completely rewrote our product to be cross-platform. So it no longer matters what device you're using. We're going to be able to help you out and speed up those orders. So the few of the things we're doing is we're actually going to be launching, which is already launched, is Scanco University. Scanco University is our e-learning platform, and that's going to allow our current users the ability to go online, go through all of our transactions, go through all of our features, watch videos. It's fully interactive, and allow you to get the most out of your system. So there's no other kind of system like that in the market right now that's going to allow your users to get familiarized with the product and use it to their peak efficiency, like Scanco Warehouse. The main reason for this is with the new technologies, we're bringing a lot of processes in that were kind of just dreams a few years ago in Sage 100. So with these new processes, we're expanding not only in Scanco Warehouse, but also our enterprise solutions. And in 2015, we're going to be doing more enterprise level features as part of the Scanco Warehouse product. And the idea there is to continue focusing on what we're hearing from the customers. So it's going to be some of the most advanced products that we're going to be releasing that we've ever had. And it's really just building on the foundation that we put in place over the past year and allow those features that are typically available in the very expensive WMS products that take months and months and months to implement. We're definitely able to bring that to you at a lot lower cost and be able to implement a lot faster, typically within that 30 to 45 day time frame. And a lot of that's based around the shipping. It's based on getting these orders out of the warehouse quicker. So features like wave shipping, which allows me to choose multiple sales orders and ship those at once, or pick them at once. Directed shipping, to where we only have to walk through our warehouse once and pick up all of those items as we go through. We don't have to go up and down the aisles, back and forth. Everything's done in just one quick pass. We have some enhancements, like pick list creation on the device that's going to be coming down the line. Pack list printing, so you can print your pack list directly from the device. So as you see, we're trying to get a lot of those manual processes away. So when you're doing these from the handheld, you're not having to go back to your Sage desktop and continue, the manual processes there. We want to get everything completely automated. We're expanding our warehouse reporting. So right now, our warehouse reporting allows you to see what user, performed a certain transaction, who picked this order, who picked that order. We're going to be expanding the tool set there to allow you a lot more analytical information, to be able to run reports on how long it's taking you to pick orders, how long it's taking to ship the orders, and be able to adjust those, those times and processes to their peak efficiency. The Sage barcode module, there's going to be some updates added to that as well. That will allow us even more freedom and more capabilities to your system. One of the other big things that we're adding with Enterprise is going to be push notifications. So, we're talking like dashboards, information where a shipping manager can assign an order to a specific user, and it displays on that user's screen that they need to go pick this order. So trying to get everything as automated as possible, make sure that all of the features are, running as fast as possible. Everything is real time. So, we're not having to sync, we're not having to deal with batch modes. We're actually moving everything to new servers with Amazon because they're a lot faster. So we have both server farms with Amazon as well as Microsoft Azure. And we're also going to be tweaking the user interface just to make it a little easier. There's, a few other products that we have that will help as well. We have like Scanco Sales, which is a remote sales order. That's going to allow those sales reps out in the field the ability to create sales orders, check inventory level, and so on, and a physical count only app. So if you don't really need the rest of the features and you're just concerned about your physical count, you can get an application that will just allow you to do the physical counts. And of course, integrations with our supply chain partners. So our partners that are on the phone, like MAPADOC, we work with them quite a bit to see, what can we do next? What can we automate? So now we can print ASNs, or submit ASNs, print UCC 128 labels from the handheld. We're working with Starship. So, Caroline was talking about a lot of the changes there with box sizes. Well, that, having to enter box sizes for every shipment could create a lot more work. So we're talking, about being able to enter that information on the handheld. Anything that we can to do to, speed up, we're definitely working with all of these other partners to make it as efficient as possible. And, with that, company-wide, we're still committed to, improving the customer experience, improving our support team. So we're constantly analyzing all of our, response rate, adding additional support techs as necessary. That way, if something does happen, you need to get a hold of us, we're going to be able to respond right away without a wait. And of course, different ERP platforms, we're looking to grow and expand into new markets there as well. So there's a lot of changes in 2015. And again, without, a lot of the partners and customers on the call, we wouldn't be where we are now. So you're the ones kind of making the 2015 what it is. And, any ideas you have, we definitely welcome you all to shoot over emails, give us a call, and we'll definitely put it in the notes to look at and see if it's something we can add to the product. So with that, we're going to turn it back over to Dane, and he's going to take it from here.
Thanks, Cody. Just a couple of things that I want you to kind of remember as we close up here, and I'll give it over to Adrian before we go. Here are all this is the contact information for everybody that spoke on today's call. But just a couple of things. Remember what the definition of omnichannel is: a consistent consumer shopping experience regardless of where the consumer chooses to engage, the retailer or supplier. I think something that I wanted to leave you guys with is, when I talk about this stuff, there's a kind of a statistic that is really astounding. When you talk about this kind of omni-channel era, for people to understand what this means, if you think about a typical Walmart store, that typical Walmart store carries about 150,000 SKUs in their store. If you compare that to Walmart.com, they carry about 1 million SKUs on their website. Now, talking about the Amazon effect, Amazon carries about 300 million SKUs on Amazon.com. So every retailer is playing that catch-up game, and we have the solutions and the services that'll help your customer succeed with selling either against Amazon, against some of their other retail competitors, or at the very least helping yourself to get your product seen wherever it may be. So with that, this is Dane, and I want to thank everybody for joining us on today's call. And Adrian, I'll throw it over to you.
Thank you, Dane. We do have a couple questions here. I would like to ask the audience a couple polls as well. I have a poll up right now. If you could just take a moment to answer this poll. Are you interested in learning more about the new functionality Starship will introduce in 2015? And Caroline, we have a question for you. Caroline, is a Starship license used up for the Scanco integration?
No, the Scanco integration, we kind of take advantage of those standard packaging tables in Sage 100. So Scanco will basically automate the process of doing the pick and pack and updating those. And then when you go into Starship, you can then pull from the invoice that was created by the Scanco solution, and Starship will pull up the shipment information, the header, ship to, that kind of stuff, and then it'll also pull the packaging detail that was defined on the handheld. We do have an enhancement to allow you to retrieve the invoice document type by the order number, so that is an enhancement, but other than that, there's really nothing else you need to do in order to work with the information that gets updated by the Scanco solution.
And Dane, if you could help us out with this question, MAPADOC routing, rec, and guide functionality is standard feature. And I'm not sure if I'm understanding this question correctly, Jignes. Thank you for your question. So MAPADOC routing, REQU, and guide functionality is standard feature, or do we need to get it additionally? I'm trying to see if I'm understanding the question correctly.
Bill, that's probably for you.
And Dane, Bill had to step off the call, so I'm hoping maybe you might be able to.
So Jignesh, yes, that would be a standard feature that will be in MAPADOC. If it's not already there, it will be in the coming months. Yes.
And I'm going to launch another poll here. Are you interested in learning more about the new functionality Scanco will introduce in 2015? All the items that Cody talked about. The audience could take a second to answer that question. And it looks like we have a question associated with the pricing of each solution. Would you guys like to take that offline, or do you want to talk to that online?
This is Dane from SDS. I think it's kind of hard to give a price for either one or all the solutions because there's so many things that go into pricing the solution. It'd probably be best to get some specifics about the scenario to give some ballpark pricing.
Perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and close that poll out and then ask another. If the audience could take a second to answer this question, are you interested in learning more about POS analytics? That's part of the presentation that Dane presented. That's new functionality in the SPS Commerce EDI solution. And we have a question here. Can Scanco print UCC labels and pricing UPC from Sage 100 orders, even for standard non-EDI orders? Thank you, Frank.
So with the Scanco solution, we can print custom labels based on the sales order. So if that information is all in the sales order, we can create a custom template and print those from the handheld. So we would definitely want to get with you offline just to go over the specific requirements for that label to confirm we can do that. But it shouldn't be any problem.
And I have one more poll to ask. Are you interested in learning more about EDI? If you could just take a second to answer that question. Now that's the portion of the presentation from Dane about SPS Commerce and the MAPADOC solution as well. So we have a couple more questions here. Thank you, Peter, for your question. Is there documentation for batch import export between Starship Mass 100? Could someone send that to me?
Yes, I could do that. I just need, I'll get the information from Adrian.
Perfect. And then does Starship integrate with our local LTL we have a contract with? And thank you, Jignesh. What, Caroline, would you need to know any more information to answer that question?
No, I mean, we have over a dozen direct LTL carrier connections in Starship to get negotiated rates. If you're using a local carrier, we have a user-defined LTL module that you could use, or we also support the FreightView transportation management system if you wanted to load your rates and get them available in Starship for rate shopping. But if you have additional questions on that, you can also, I can get your information, reach out to you to discuss the different LTL modules.
And please also send me the Starship batch instructions also. Thanks. Thank you, Frank. And Caroline will get with you on that. And everybody says thank you very much for this presentation. I don't see any other questions. If you have any other questions, please feel free to go ahead and key them in now, and we will answer them. If not, I just thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day. Would anyone else like any closing remarks? Any of the presenters? It's a great presentation, everybody. Thank you for your time in presenting this as well.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate the opportunity. And again, just want to thank all the partners, customers, and other supply chain partners. And definitely thank you as well, Adrian.
And here's the contact information, too, if we could just take a quick note of that, if there's anyone you want to reach out to. I will send a follow-up email with the recording along with this contact information, and you should get that later on today. And please, if you have any questions, go ahead and respond to that follow-up email to me or reach out to any one of these contacts, and we'll be in touch with you. Thank everybody so much for joining us once again, and everybody take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.